Throughout this training, or at any time you need support, there are many ways to contact us. You can follow us on all major social media platforms or email us directly via our website, or you can click the Cancel Connect icon shown at the bottom of this slide on our website to book a consultation with one of our experts. Column charts. They display data using rectangular bars where the length of the bar is proportional to the data value. This chart is used to compare the values of two or more categories to determine whether the numbers are alike or not, to determine whether there's a difference between groups.
Some best practices for column charts. Use column charts for comparison if the number of categories is small, like between 5 and 7. For column charts, the numerical axis should always start at 0. Our eyes are very sensitive to the height of columns, and we can draw inaccurate conclusions when those bars are truncated.
Here's a little insight into understanding differences between groups. Let's say that we're flipping a coin 100 times per day, and we're plotting the heads and tails on a chart. On day 1, the result was 49 heads and 51 tails. That seems pretty predictable. There doesn't seem to be a significant difference between the heads and the tails. In other words, we would say that there was nothing funny about the coin.
On day 2, however, the result was 45 heads and 55 tails. It should be an even chance for heads and tails. That said, we don't expect the results to be exactly 50-50. This is an important lesson in understanding differences. Just because one category performs better or worse than another, it doesn't mean that they are actually better or worse. It might just be random differences like we see in our coin flips.
How about if our coin flip results were 35 heads and 65 tails, or 30-70? We may suspect that we have a trick coin. The point is, we have to be careful to not draw conclusions that every single difference we see is significant. And when it's too close to call, we have a tool for that. We'll be learning about the chi-square shortly.
So the Pareto chart is based on the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, which we covered earlier. That's why this is such an important tool for improvement projects. 80% of the problem can be traced back to 20% of causes. So the Pareto analysis identifies the problem areas or tasks that will have the biggest payoff. There are two y-axes, the primary on the left and the secondary on the right. The Pareto y-axis max indicates the sum of all values on the chart. So we can look at the top of the primary y-axis and see that the total revenue generated by these 5 beers was $120,000. This gives us a visual then of how much of that 120K came from each of the categories.
The secondary y-axis is the percentage that each category is contributing to the total. The first bar is contributing a little over 25%. If we add the first 2 bars together, it's over 50%. Add the first 3 together and so on until we get to 100%. The line showing the cumulative percentage is called the cumulative line, or the cum line for short.
A great way to use a Pareto chart is to drill down to get to the root cause of the problem. For example, if we are studying defects by line, our data shows that line 3 has the highest number of defects at 210 of the total 350 defects. This would be an important number for the team to understand, because if they can eliminate the defects on line 3, they can confidently estimate that they'll have a greater than 50% reduction in packaging defects.
In order to understand what's happening on line 3, the team can create a Pareto of packaging defects from line 3. In the second level Pareto, we see that the first 2 categories of folded flaps and carton won't open account for more than 50% of all defects on line 3. At this point, the team might decide that they need to narrow the scope just to the most prevalent defect, so they'll focus on folded flaps.
So a team runs a Pareto chart using the data from all lines and sees that folding flaps is the #1 defect in all the lines. If they can address that defect, they'll have more than a 25% reduction on defects across all of the lines. This is a great tool to help the team to drill down to the root cause and to put some numbers around the impact that they might have on the problem and the goal.
The 1-point lesson for Pareto chart is here in your workbook. Fortunately, Excel now has an option to create a Pareto chart. It used to require a lot of manual workarounds, so this makes it nice and easy to get the benefits from looking at your data this way to find the vital causes.
It has been our sincere pleasure being with you through this part of the training, and we thank you for your dedication to creating a better workplace and an environment that you can truly enjoy.